Hello, everyone from Chelsea Fan TV. I hope you're all doing very, very well and enjoying your Friday evening. It is another evening show for you guys coming. We're going to be talking about Warsaw, what happened out there. We're also going to be speaking about the players and the manager. We'll touch a little bit on Ipswich. Why not? But I think listen, I like to consider myself to be a relatively well balanced fan. There's good things, there's bad things. You say the good is good and you say the bad is bad. Simple as that. And I think that as much as there's a number of things that I dislike about what's happening, it's hard for me to criticize when Chelsea are, performing. And ultimately, if you're winning games, you're performing. That's the way I see it. I know not everybody agrees with the style of play. I mean, I certainly am not a massive fan of it myself. But listen, Chelsea are more than capable of getting results in the Conference League, and how we do it is one. I mean, it's not pretty, but just get the job done, and we have. We've got the job done. 3 goals, 3-0. There you go. So happy days as far as I'm concerned. Now, looking at some of the reactions from people on Twitter, etc. I mean, there's some very, very pessimistic fans. Like I've thought that I've been pessimistic this season, but nowhere near as pessimistic as some of them. I don't understand this just forced hate for the team and the manager. If it's good, it's good. If it's not, it's not. I think yesterday was all right. I think it was okay. I'm not going to sit here and slate the whole team because we didn't play well for 45 minutes. We were perfectly under control from a Warsaw point of view. I mean, they had us exactly where they wanted us. 0-0. Listen, they weren't creating anything, but we certainly weren't creating anything. And we ended up coming into the game because of the tweaks made by the manager. And listen, I think Maresca's done some very strange things this season, but I thought it was extra strange when I saw Cole Palmer coming off the pitch and Madueke come on. I just thought to myself, hang on a second, that makes no sense whatsoever. But looking back, that decision was a pivotal one, and it made a huge impact on the team and the way we played and the way we adjusted throughout the match. We had so much possession, over 70% in the first half. But the reality is, possession means absolutely nothing if you don't do anything with it. If you're just going to keep holding on to the ball and passing backwards and passing sideways, where there is opportunities to pass forward. I'm not just saying we keep possession. There's moments where you think, oh, you could have picked that pass, or you could have tried to take on that player, and you are just insistently choosing the passive option, the easy option, which I would call it, because it's much easier to pass the ball backwards than to actually do something that can make a difference in a match. But that's how we want to play, so be it. Looking at the stats, this is what we have as well. Big up Nehemiah as well. I hope you're doing well, mate. Good to see you on the stream. This is what we have in front of us, guys. 72% possession in this game. Absolute domination from that perspective. But we always do. We always do. Then you ask yourself the question, did we dominate in any other way apart from that? When we talk about domination, did we dominate in terms of chances created? Did we dominate in terms of key opportunities? Did we dominate in terms of all the positive things that you want to see? And then this is what you've got: 10 shots to their 1, 6 off target to their 4, and we had 4 big chances to their 0, 7 blocks to their 3. So the stats say that Chelsea was clearly the better side. Yeah, no, we definitely haven't turned a corner, Fred. I mean, there's no doubt that we are going to continue to play this out-the-back football forever under Maresca. That's never going to change. Absolutely not. You know what? I think it was just a case of he knew he had to win. He was desperate to win. And we had the goal, and you have to hold on to a lead, don't you? And ultimately, every manager is going to sacrifice at some point if they know that the gain is good enough. Like imagine the criticism if we would have drawn against Spurs or lost against Spurs because of the playing style. That would have never ended, because that's the one game you've really got to win. I mean, you have to win it. I mean, I could close my eyes and I think we'd beat Spurs. I felt more confident that we would beat Tottenham than I did when we played Brentford. Rightly so, because we beat Tottenham and we drew against Brentford. But Warsaw was always going to be a win. The question was just by how much. I know they beat Aston Villa. They did beat Aston Villa. I think it was 3-2 last season. But again, I think a lot of it is just down to football heritage as well. Ultimately, Chelsea is just a winning club. And I think even gutting out all the winners that we have in this team, just the fact that you play for Chelsea, there's got to be an element of, I don't think the word's pride, but expectation that you just have within yourself. And, you know, I'm playing for Chelsea. If we don't win this is embarrassing. Like whether you're Dewsbury Hall or whether you're Reece James, that's the way I see it. When did I say I wanted Maresca to stay? When did I say that? I don't remember saying that. Do you remember me saying that? I don't remember that. Badia Shield, we thought he had a good game. Listen, we got the clean sheet, didn't we? So I don't think he was massively troubled. But yeah, there you go. It's look, it was an easy game from that perspective. Warsaw didn't cause us any problems. Let's not act like they had a lot of opportunities and we were so great. You know, look at the amount of passes we did compared to them. 782 total passes and 733 completed compared to their 232. And of course, our accuracy is going to be higher. None of them are risky passes for the most part. Yeah, I mean, I was surprised to see such a weak squad in a lot of ways, especially considering the amount of players that we rested for the Brentford game. You know, it was interesting seeing who we had on the bench. I mean, Cucurella was on the bench. I think there was certainly a shout for Jackson to play in this game. I mean, you could have justified that. He didn't start against Brentford. Enzo Fernandez as well on the bench. Madueke on the bench. Neto on the bench. So, you know, we had quite a few players that didn't start. It was a strange lineup, wasn't it? I mean, when you saw, look, I mean, personally, I'm always happy to see Jorgensen instead of Sanchez. That's just a massive plus for me. When I saw Josh Achimpong, I don't think anyone can complain. But then you say, okay, well, Gusto's going to be on the left. James in the midfield, I think, works in the Conference League. Like, I don't have a problem with it. I have a massive problem when we do it in other competitions, because I don't think that's not how you get the best out of Reece James. Even if we're talking about the Conference League, I mean, that's just not how you. I mean, he is quote unquote the best right back in world football when he's fully fit. And you're telling me that he's better as a midfielder. That is a load of nonsense. He's not a midfielder. He can play as a midfielder. He played as a midfielder for Wigan. So if we're looking at that standard, yes, he's proved himself. But he's never played as a midfielder for Chelsea before playing under Enzo Maresca. So what makes you think that all of those trophies he won as a right wing back, also playing sometimes as a centre back in a back three, we have seen it before. Why would you choose the midfield as the best option? So nobody can persuade me that James is a midfielder. That's nonsense. It's not true whatsoever. But I don't have a problem with him doing it in the Conference League, because he is good enough to beat who's in front of him, because the teams just aren't of the same level. His distribution, his passing, his strength, they're all assets in the Conference League. And what it does is it frees up a space for Malo Gusto or Josh Achimpong to get minutes. Because if he plays on the right, then Gusto and Achimpong would never have any minutes in that position, unless it was for rotation purposes. Interesting as well when you look at the substitutions that were made. Colwell came on and Madueke came on straight away. Start of the second half, Tosin and Palmer went off. I was like, "What? Palmer's off?" But it turned out to be a crucial decision because Madueke got his 2 goals, and then obviously Tyreek George as well. I mean, fantastic to see him get on the score sheet. Absolutely fantastic. I went into work today. I spent the whole time laughing at Onana rather than talking about our win. Good to see the young boys getting game time, but this competition bores me. That's fair enough, friend. Like nobody's sitting here, nobody's sitting there saying that it's the most entertaining competition in the world. It's a competition that we should win, and we probably will win. Although I've spoken with Nina, she watched the Real Betis game, and she said they were fantastic. She says they look really, really good. Anthony apparently is having a great time, and Isco, as old as he is, he's in his mid-30s now, is playing sensational football under, is it Pellegrini? So that is the one team that I'm probably worried about in the competition. Hey, how are we doing, Scott?
Yeah, not bad. And yourself?
How long have you been in there for?
Oh, a few minutes is fine.
I didn't even see you in there, mate.
Oh, that's cool.
What have you been up to, buddy?
Not much. Had a day off work today, which was nice. Just chilled. Yeah, just relaxed basically, and done much. Just enjoying my day off.
You watched the game yesterday, presumably?
I did. Yeah, that was interesting.
Interesting.
First half was horrible. Was more of the same, but second half was what I expect in this competition. It's like that's how I expected us to play against Copenhagen. It's how we played against Panathinaikos. It's how we played against Heidenheim. It's how we played basically in every game we played in the group stage. But we hadn't seen it obviously as Copenhagen. We didn't see it first half, but then I don't know whether it was the change or just what it was in the second half. But I think that early goal just killed them. They had to come out of their shape a bit more. But yeah, like, that's just what I expect. I expect the same against either Rapid Vienna or Djurgården, whoever we face next. I expect the same against basically any team we play outside of Betis. They're the only team I expect us to give us a good game. But outside of that, I expect us to be the better team in every game we play for the rest of this competition.
Fair play. What's your thoughts on playing James in the midfield? I mean, it says you want Reece playing right back and cry when he gets injured. I mean, that's like me saying that Palmer gets injured, we should play him as a goalkeeper so he doesn't run. I mean, what do you expect? I mean, every player should play in their natural position. Is that not just common sense? But again, I did say this earlier. I don't have a problem with him playing in the midfield in the Conference League. I mean, that really doesn't bother me. I just think that he's better suited as a right back. And I don't understand how you would develop a player playing them out of position so consistently. I mean, to be fair, even if he did play as a right back, he'd still invert anyway, which I just don't really appreciate. I don't understand it, mate. Like Cucurella, I get it. I do get it with Cucurella. We've seen it work. It works very well. And, you know, it's brought us success. But Maresca seems to be insistent on inverting the right side like he did at Leicester, as opposed to, you know, the left side with Cucurella. I thought we'd just see that every game because it's been proven with us. But, I mean, what's your take on that whole situation? We'll start off with Reece playing in the midfield and then obviously inverting as well.
I'm fine with it. I think he's shown that he's more than good enough to play that position. I think it was an interesting moment when he did it. It's something that I was interested in seeing before the start of the season because I thought it was a good way to still get him involved because he's so good going forward that you want him to get involved, but limit the amount of running and kind of stress on his hamstrings. And I think we're seeing it's worked in that regard. And I also think that he's just got that ability. I think a lot of the issues that people have with the Reece James thing in playing in midfield, at least the way I look at it, is we're only saying that because his backup this season has been terrible. Like, you look at the game yesterday, for example. I don't think anyone's really complaining about Reece playing in midfield. Yes, it's the competition.
No, I'm certainly not complaining about yesterday. I just mean as a generalisation.
No, but like, I think there's two things. I think just on this point, I think part of it is the fact that like we've had Gusto being terrible the whole season. playing at right back or like inverting, whatever he's doing. He simply can't do it. He is the only one of our fullbacks that can't do it, as it turns out. But he can't do it. So we then want James to play right back to just because there. And also the other issue with him playing, or the reason behind him playing in the midfield, is because we have an injury-prone midfielder in Lavia. Thank you very much, Poch. And we have no backup. We have 3 midfielders, like in terms of in that like in the spot where James plays. But actually, we only really have 2 because Enzo doesn't play there, even though he can. KDH won't play there. He's going to play further forward. So we have no one else, unfortunately, because they loaned out Leslie when they shouldn't have. And they didn't decide to bring it back in January when they could have. So we don't have anyone else. And so ultimately, like, that's where we stand. I think if Lavia had been fit the whole season, we wouldn't see this with James. We'd see Lavia in midfield. But that's an unfortunate...
I also refer back to the comments, though, Maresca talking about... I mean, he literally said he sees Reece James as a midfielder.
I don't really care about this conversation because I think, again, if everyone was fit, like if Lavia is fit, we're not seeing James in midfield, or we're not seeing him start in midfield. We might see him invert in midfield from the right-hand side, which I'm fine with. I also think part of the reason, just on that point you made, that we're doing that is because you look at who we've got in the squad in terms of centre-backs. When everyone was fit, our centre-back partnership was Fofana and Colwill. Colwill can't play as a wide centre-back in the system. We've seen that this season. He is not capable. And Fofana doesn't work as a central centre-back. So if that's the case, you have to invert the right-hand player, whoever that is. Unless you're going to drop both of them, really, because even if you put Badiashile as the left centre-back, Fofana still can't play as that central centre-back. So, yeah, unless you were going to drop both of them, he was never going to invert on the left-hand side. Like, we've seen him do it at times when we've had different players there. Like, for example, yesterday we did it because you had Tosin or Colwill as the right centre-back / central centre-back in a 3 when we go to a back 3, and it was Badiashile as the left centre-back. You can do that because then all of a sudden it works because you've got Achimpong as the right centre-back. I thought he was excellent yesterday as well, in every position that he played. So I think some of the decisions he makes and has made this season comes down to the profiles that we have in this squad and them not being to an adequate level. Like, for example, if he had at centre-back, let's just say, like, Bastoni and, let's say, Bisek, for example, you could play either of those guys as the wide centre-back or the central centre-back in a back 3, which means you could invert from either side. We unfortunately have centre-backs that are limited. Outside of... Actually, there's not a single... Outside of Badiashile...
Yeah, but like most teams. I mean, most teams are like that, Scott.
No, but like we have had centre-backs before, like Rudiger, for example. Rudiger is capable of playing in a 2 and in a 3 and is capable of being the central centre-back in a 3 and the wide centre-back.
I mean, I would argue that Rudiger's a lot better in a 3, and I think we've seen that.
I think we've seen with Real Madrid he's more than capable of playing in a 2.
That's true. It's true. Okay, from a Chelsea standpoint, then
that's fair.
But yeah, he has played. I mean, I think that you'd struggle to not do well at Madrid though when you have so much quality around you.
We've seen players struggle, but I get your point. But he's been immense, I think, for them. But I think that's the thing. I think it is just profiles, and I think, like I said, you're right. Like, not everyone is going to be capable of playing wide and centrally. It is a lot, especially in like a back 3. It's a lot. It's like age and their ability to recover. But I think this is the cards that we've been dealt with our centre-backs. We unfortunately have, out of all of our centre-backs, we have one who can play both, which is Badiashile, unfortunately. We have 2 that can only play centrally. Actually, no, Chalaba's the other one who can play both. I think we've seen that. We've got two centre-backs. We've got Fofana's the only one who can really play wide to a high level, like as the wide centre-back. And yeah, so I just think we're limited in terms of who we can play there. So unfortunately, certain guys have had to fit in certain positions, even though we'd like to probably see Kukurea invert a lot more. He has to, when everyone's fit, be that left centre-back. Yeah, I just think that's how it's shaken out. But yeah, with the Reece thing, I think he's more than capable of playing the midfield in the Premier League. I think he's shown that. He showed that against, was it Villa? I think he showed that against, where he dominated the midfield. along with Caicedo. So yeah, I think I don't have an issue with Reece in midfield. I do want him to be at right back, but I think there are times you can use him in midfield. Like I said, if you're going to get Achimpong playing the way he did, Reece can play at midfield because we don't need him right back in that situation.
I agree with you with the Conference League, but you can't tell me that you want to see James in the midfield when we play basically any side in the Premier League that isn't maybe Ipswich. You could get away with it, but
No, he
any
played
other,
against Villa and was good.
it's not a consistent role for him, mate. I'm sorry, it's just not.
He's
That's
got
not
the
even the
ability
best
to.
out of him. He hasn't proven himself over. And people talk like you need legs in the midfield as well, mate. I know you need legs to get up and down the pitch as a right back, especially the way he used to. But you need legs all over the pitch. People saying that he's not going to get injured playing in the system. Like we look at Lavia, the most injury prone player in the world. He plays in that system. I know they're different players, but if you're injured, you're injured. You can't keep blaming the manager and the system. What about the players? What about their recovery? Maybe they just don't take care of themselves. I mean, I'm not saying he eats KFC every night before he goes to bed, but do you know what I mean? I mean, there's an underlying issue. Maybe he's just cursed, and we got a Jack Wilshere at Chelsea, who's on a lot more money than Jack Wilshere was, and a much better player, to be fair. But it's just difficult to look at it and justify it when you've seen Scott how good he is playing a certain way to then see that change and be justified by the managers if that's the best thing for the player. I think it's very difficult. It's like when Sarri come in and put Jorginho instead of Kante in that position, that holding position. Now, we know why he did it, because he was desperate to pass the ball out from the back. But that wasn't the best thing for Kante's development. I mean, from a personal player's perspective, he wants to play in his natural position. And we saw Kante's form dip that season compared to what we saw under Conte.
I don't
He
think we
didn't
did.
play as well, 100%. He did not play as well under Sarri as he did under Conte. That's
I
100%.
disagree.
He didn't. Come on, Scott. That's not even a
I
debate.
disagree. I think Kante was not
What?
the issue in that midfield. I thought Kante was very good that season. That
I'm not
19.
saying no, Scott, you're missing my point. I'm not saying he was bad. I'm saying his levels could have been much higher if he was played in his natural position. I'm not saying Reece James is bad in the midfield. I'm saying that his level can be so much higher in his natural position.
You say natural position, by the way. Kante was never a DM.
He was a DM for us. He
No,
used
he
to hold him.
wasn't.
Well, he used to go up and down, but he was the guy who sat.
No, he wasn't. That was Matic.
Yeah, but they were both there together. We weren't in a pressing system, Scott.
No, but exactly. He's never played. He has never in his career. Well, actually, I don't know about before Leicester. I don't know about before Leicester, but from Leicester up to when he left us, we actually no. Outside of, I think there was a few games under Lampard. Up until that point, he'd never played as a DM in a single pivot by himself. Never.
I'm not necessarily saying single pivot though, Scott. I'm talking about that.
That was what we played though, and that's the difference. About difference in formations. It's what that's why ultimately the move worked in that scenario. Jorginho had done that in a system before. He'd done that in the Sarri system before. Kante had never done that system.
Scott, we're talking about different things. Like you're talking about the whole system. I'm talking about the player, and that's it. Just the player. You know just as well as I do, if you played Reece in his natural position, he's a better player. Can we agree on that?
I think it depends.
Oh, come on, Scott.
No, I think it depends.
We've seen him play up to a world-class level. Tuchel played him as a fucking
I think he's
wing-back.
playing to that level now. I don't really see what the issue is with him. I think he's playing that way now. The only difference is, and the whole Reece James conversation I find weird because he's not got worse.
When you say he's playing to that level now, Scott, can you be more specific?
He's not playing worse. He's playing to the same level he was. He's played the same level for us basically his whole career. He has been one of our best players. Whenever he's played, he's been one of our best players, and he's still playing to that level.
The level he showed under Tuchel was a level above what he's doing now, and I'm not actually blaming him for that. I mean, injuries that doesn't make it easy, but he's lost pace with his injuries. Definitely not as fast as he was. He's still very strong, but he's not the same player. I understand.
What's different about him?
Sorry?
What's different about him?
He's playing in the midfield, and he's been
Okay,
injured enough.
outside of where he's playing, what is different about him? You said he's lost a bit of pace. That's fine.
That's
That
the
was never
main
his
thing.
strong
He's
suit
lost
anyway.
pace. That is the main thing, I would
That's
say.
that was never part of Reece's
And
game.
he's not a goal scoring threat anymore.
That's fine. Like, I'm fine with Reece not being a goal scoring threat. I don't want my right back to be the goal scoring threat like
I mean,
the whole time.
but Scott, again, like, I feel like we're deviating from my point. My point wasn't like this deep. My point was simply that you will get more out of Reece James playing him in his natural position, just like you get more out of Lavia if you play him in his natural position. It's got nothing to do with being injury prone. It's got nothing to do with anything else. Maresca says he's a midfield. He plays him in the Conference League. I say, fine, you can get away with it. If he does the same thing in the Premier League consistently, you name one game, Aston Villa, fair enough. I don't see that as a long-term way forward, playing Reece James in the midfield. If that's the solution for Reece James, then I'm missing something here, because I'm seeing a player who's won the Champions League with Chelsea as a right back and all these trophies and been our best player, been the best right wing back in the world, only to move him into the midfield. I mean, that doesn't make any sense.
Okay. Let's say I concede your point. I don't. Let's just hypothetically say I concede your point. He would never play that same way in this system, even if he played right back.
True.
So this conversation is kind of wasted because he's never going to play in his best position at the moment, like with this manager. In fact, going forward, because even our last manager didn't he played overlapping fullbacks, but it wasn't in any way, shape, or form the same way that Tuchel did.
Bit of EastEnders.
Like, he's not like that. This is the thing with Reece, is his with this manager, we don't play with overlapping fullbacks at all. And
It's
I don't
true,
really
mate.
want Reece
And
to
I
be
think
playing that way.
I'll be so honest with you. Like, from the perspective of keeping the player fit, like, I understand it in that sense. I do get it, but I just think it's disingenuous for people to sit here, and I'm not saying you're saying or anyone else is saying, but for people to think that Reece James should be playing as a midfielder because he's better in that position, I just think that's nonsense. I don't think it's right whatsoever. But it does give Gusto and Achimpong the opportunity to play more. And that is one of the positives that you'll get from it. So if that's another reason that Maresca does it, like, I'm not really too bothered. But if he does that against Ipswich, and if he does that in other big games, I struggle, mate. I really struggle to see it. I mean, you say we don't have any other options in there. I'm trying to think who we had on the bench. Who else we have on the bench? I mean, in an ideal world, you just always have Caicedo and
Well, that's what we will have. I think
Sanders in there.
ultimately,
But we didn't play those
our
players.
starting midfield is always going to be Caicedo and Enzo, provided that no one is suspended, injured, etc. But as a third man up, like, having midfield is fine. Like, it's fine, especially in I say third man up, the second man up in the Caicedo position, because ultimately it's going to be like KDH if Enzo needs to get rested or whatever. But yeah, to have him as that DM, quote unquote, in this system is fine. Like, we saw it against Legia Warsaw, and we've seen it times as well. Like, we've even seen it against Villa. We've seen it other times to play midfield. He is still given license to get forward. So, like, he's still given the opportunity to shoot and score those goals you mentioned. Like yesterday, the goal we scored with Tyreek George comes from a Reece James shot.
It's very true, mate. Very true. And the Copenhagen goal as well, away from home.
Yeah, exactly. So he's still got license to go forward and score. It's just a different position on the pitch that he can score from. And I think, like I said, I think Reece is just of that level, and he's showing it, where he can play in midfield, he can play right back. From a technical standpoint, I don't think it matters. Like, he could play up front for all I care. And from a technical standpoint, he'd probably be able to play that position. Whether he can do some of the other things we want as a striker to do in this hypothetical, that remains to be seen. But from a technical standpoint, like, I've got no issues with him. I think he can play anywhere on the pitch outside of in goal and be fine.
I think you've articulated yourself very well, Scott. I respect that, mate. And no, I think you got your point across. I think that we both agree pretty much. I think that maybe what I was getting at is more vague than what we're talking about within Maresca's system. I mean, let us know in the chat as well, guys, if you think that Reece James is being managed well, or if you don't like the way he's been managed by Maresca. We're going to speak about Noni Madueke as well, Scott. Obviously, got the goals yesterday. Made a big impact when he come on. He didn't score the first one. That was George, but he got the next two after Nkunku missed his penalty as well. What a great way to come back into the fold. And do you think he should start against Ipswich?
Yeah, he should. Unless you're going to put Palmer right wing, which he never will do. I don't even know if I want him to do all the time, but you could do it in some games. Madueke should be our starting winger, the only winger going forward, written in pen as a starter. He's been our best winger this season. People can argue whether the bar is high, whether that is true or not. I'll be real, argue with yourselves. That's just how it is in terms of numbers. Yes. Whether you want to judge this off of output, whether you want to judge this over effectiveness, whether you want to judge this over what is best for the system, Noni has been the best winger for us this season. He's the only winger we've got that offers any kind of variance to their game. He's the only winger that's really got that explosiveness to try and actually get past the player consistently. Doesn't always work, but he's the only one that tries it consistently. He's the only winger that offers any sort of goal threat, which, considering the how do I put this, the lack of goals we're experiencing in attack at the moment, needed. Yeah, he's Neto for me has been at best average this season. He's had a couple good games. I think of the Arsenal game. I think of the Liverpool cameo, the Wolves cameo. I'm trying to think in the league. That's about all I can think of right now. There might be other games I just can't remember. But he's also had some absolutely terrible games. The Brighton game, for example, after Noni went off. Sancho started the season really well, then just died. And at this point, I'm sending him back to United at the end of the season.
So you don't that performance doesn't redeem anything with
no, he was terrible for the.
I still don't think he was great either, to be honest.
He was terrible the first half. He was a lot better second half. That first half was terrible, and it says a lot that he was being outperformed by an 18-year-old in the same position.
And do you think part of the reason, with Madueke coming up, it makes everyone around him better because Sancho's looking to find him, knowing that he's going for goal, and maybe having other players that aren't as willing to take on shots and chances? That's an issue.
Potentially. I don't know if it's that. I just think it's just, like I said, I think he's more suited and more... There's just more variation, like I said, and I just think he gives defenders something else to think about. He's the only, outside of Jackson or whoever the striker is, and Palmer, or whoever the 10 really is, because we saw KDH do it at times yesterday, he is the only other player really crashing the box, trying to get in the box to either score or just to cause chaos. Sancho doesn't do it. Neto doesn't do it. George doesn't really do it when he's a winger. He did it obviously yesterday for the goal, but when he's a winger, he doesn't really do it. And Nkunku, whatever. Yeah, and that's why I say I think he's important. Unless, my thing with Noni, and my thing with a lot of these players, because I know there's been talk of him being sold in the summer, or you have to upgrade on him or whatever, and that's cool. And my stance on this is the same with every player across the board. I'm fine selling a player, provided you're telling me, you're guaranteeing me the guy you get to replace him is better. Don't tell me we're selling Noni and then we're going to go and sign another Mudryk level player
in Brazil.
Yeah, don't tell me we're selling Noni and we're going to get Oscar Bob. No. Oscar Bob might be incredible in a couple of years' time. That's fine. We're not doing that now. And that's why I like the fact that if Noni is here next season, he's a guy who he can be a starter. I think we've seen, but I think he can also be an impact sub off the bench if and indeed when Esteval becomes the player that we think he can be. If he becomes that player that he's shown he is in Brazil, and a lot of us think he's got the talent to be, he's the starter. That's fine. For me, Noni's a more than adequate backup and a more than adequate guy who can come in, 20 minutes before the end of a game, or can start a game against an Ipswich or a Leeds or a Southampton or whatever. Yeah, I'm glad he's back. And I find it funny, by the way, fun fact, and I've told this on Lewis's channel, and I'll tell this to you now. He is 3 goals off of equaling Kai Havertz's best ever total for us.
Havertz was never a goal scorer, mate. He was never a goal scorer.
He played as a striker for us for 3 years, bro. I'd expect more than 13 goals in all comps.
No, that's poor. That is poor. I remember when Lukaku had all the drama around him. And do you remember when Lukaku was playing for us? I actually thought Havertz made us a lot better when he was playing, even if Lukaku was the big sign. I'm talking that season he did the interview. But after that, I just thought, Jesus Christ. I remember the Tottenham game when Cucurella had his hair pulled and Havertz had some great chances. Do you know who I was sitting with for that game?
Yeah.
I was with fucking Johnny, mate. Johnny Minerals. Right. Me and Johnny. And he loved Havertz. He was all over him.
Yeah, I know he did. He still does.
I mean, me personally, at that time, I was a bit like Johnny. I didn't love him, but I thought like it could click. And then I remember the City game when we lost 1-0 and Chukwuemeka hit the post. I'm fucking done with this guy. I'm done. And I said to Lewis, I'm sorry, mate. You were right. I hate this guy.
Tragic, man.
I don't know how he's made it this far.
It's because
he runs.
There's a few reasons. Number one, he was very good at Leverkusen. Like, he was undeniably, like, for all the crap we want to give him now, he was incredible at Leverkusen. And I think despite everything, there's a couple of things. Number one, he always had, because of how he was at Leverkusen, he always had that, like, interest. Real Madrid and Bayern were interested in him before we got him. As much as, like, I think there were other factors as to why we won, but he was a part of us winning a Champions League. And it's like that's why that he's going to get that. Like, it's the same thing with Mount. Like, Mount ultimately has done basically nothing with his career. Didn't think he was going to do much, but he still has that. He had that really good season in the year we won the Champions League and was actually good that year. He had the season where he was pretty crap most of the season, but managed to mask it with goals and assists. No. Yeah, so he was really good. I thought he was really good the season that we won the Champions League. Nah, he was mostly.
What are we talking about? Is that was still Tuchel, wasn't it?
Yeah, so the season we won the Champions League, where what's his face? Yeah. Frank got sacked halfway through. I thought he was really good that year, and then the year afterwards, I thought he was pretty meh, but he got goals and assists, so he masked it in most performances. He basically had a Bruno season where he was mostly poor, but got like a goal every other game or whatever.
Get the hat trick in against Norwich.
Yeah, exactly.
Love a Norwich hat trick. Yeah, I mean, I just want to give a massive shout out to Jose Mourinho in the chat. He's going to be the Chelsea manager for the next session. He's going to be here for one session and then he's going back to Turkey. He thought he would do a charitable donation and donate 90 minutes of his time to a session. So we appreciate that, Jose. That's very, very kind. Very kind. I'm a bit gutted that it's only one session, but it all helps, doesn't it? It all helps. Jordan says George is better than Nkunku. Well, I mean, in this system, absolutely. He also says Nkunku is the best winger that we've had this season. He agrees with what you said. And he's also agreed with what you've said about Esteval as well, Scott. So you and Jordan have quite a bit in common there. Yeah. Edison says, I think Oscar Bob was going to have a good season if he was not injured for sure. I mean, he looked really, really good at the beginning when I saw him, but he got injured very quickly. Was that the?
It was. I think it was
second or third game.
Yeah, I think it was. It wasn't pre-season.
Now he played in the Community Shield, didn't he?
Might have been Community Shield. He got injured. I can't remember what game it was. But yeah, he broke his leg, I think, or did his ACL. It was like a serious injury. He's out for the whole season. But I don't remember what.
Sancho too.
He was better in the game yesterday. Like, as good a second half that Sancho had. Like I said, George for me in that first half was way better. Second half, I thought playing at striker, I think it's a damning indictment on Nkunku, how George played in that second half at striker. Thought it was very good. And for me, he'd be my backup left winger next season. We've already got Quenda coming in 2026. I don't see any reason to go and sign another left winger. If this club was running smartly and running with a plan, what we should be doing is going and getting, I don't know, like a Lookman, or we might have lost our chance of Barcola now, but someone of that level.
I just don't see that happening, mate.
I don't think it is either, but that's what I'm saying. What I would do is go and sign someone of that level, having George as the backup, who could, similarly to what I mentioned earlier with Noni, it's like, cool, if that starter is playing 90% of the games the whole season, as he should be, he can play the other 10%, and it should be fine. And that way, you give him more minutes to prove whether he actually can be a squad player or not. Because like whether he'll ever be good enough to be a starter, I think at this point remains to be seen. I'm not seeing it yet. Like I don't see the same level of like. There's just not something about him that I see. Okay, he can be a long-term starter here going forward, but I think he's good enough to be a squad player. And it just gives him more chance to do that next season. And like, it's better than going and getting anyone else for a year, for then Quenda to come in, and then you've got 3 or 4 wingers for that left winger position. You've got to sell 2 of them.
It's true. It's true. I mean, yeah, we'll see what happens. I mean, I'm going to the Club World Cup, so I'm having a lot of conversations with people who think we're going to take this competition very seriously. I actually agree with that. I think we are going to take it seriously, but does that mean that we are serious? I don't think that quite correlates.
What games are you going to, by the way?
All the group stages and
You go to all the group stage games.
Yeah.
So wait, so you're
I'm flying into Atlanta.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to Philadelphia, and the next 2 games are in Philadelphia, and then we're going to fly to Orlando, and then if we qualify, we'll go to another game, and then I'll go. I'm not staying past that. That's too expensive.
I swear, I thought one of our games was in Texas. I don't know why. I thought it was in Houston.
Texas?
I thought one of our games was in Houston.
I'm not sure about Texas. I think the final is in...
It's in New York.
Which stadium is that?
It is... it's not MetLife. Let me look. Let me...
I've heard some fucking shit about New York, guys. I don't know if anyone's from America here.
Yeah, no, I was right. It's MetLife. It's in New Jersey, by the way. It's not even like properly New York.
It's not New York. Oh, fair. Well, I've heard some stuff about New York. You know what I'm not looking forward to? Tipping. Fucking hell, man. Like, it's so forced, isn't it? I mean, I can only presume from what I've seen, but obviously you get great customer service and you have to tip, like, is it 20% or something like that?
I don't think it's 20%. I think it's like 10% or 15%. It's fine. Like, honestly, you don't really notice it, like genuinely.
No, I noticed that, Scott, because I don't want to spend the money. I don't want to spend it. Mate, I went out for a nice meal on Wednesday. There's a nice restaurant, mate, and it's called London Brasserie. It's in Reading, and it's pricey. It's expensive, but they had this deal where it's like, oh, we've got a fixed menu. It was £29 each, and I was like, fucking hell. It's not like cheap, but a lot of their stuff is a lot more expensive than that, and that's for a starter and a main course. So I was like, okay, we can get a good meal out of that. So I went, fine, let's do it. Didn't buy any alcohol, mate. Tap water. I think I might have had like a non-alcoholic beer. And at the end, mate, it was a £12.50 service charge. I was like, what? Obviously, I just paid it because the service was good. But I don't know, mate. I'm stingy. I'm stingy like that. I've never done this, but I have thought about it every now and again. Actually, no, I've definitely done this. You know, you go in a restaurant and the service has been like fine, and they've already added the tip onto the bill.
Yeah,
I find that really rude. Like you've got to wait for someone to offer you the bill, offer you the, offer you a tip. Like, if they like it, then they'll offer you a tip. So sometimes, I'm not going to say every time, but maybe like 1 in 4 restaurants I go to, if I'm not that happy, I'll ask them to take it off. It's very awkward, but I will ask. Because it's a mockery, mate. You can't just take my money like that.
No, that's fair.
Would you just pay the tip and be done with it?
Probably.
Scott, man. I couldn't do that. Nah, couldn't do that, man. Couldn't do it.
I'm looking at these stadiums, by the way, for the Club World Cup, and it looks like it's gonna be good.
Very expensive, mate.
Mercedes-Benz. When you go to Atlanta, Mercedes-Benz Stadium is meant to be amazing. I
wonder how the atmosphere will be. I mean, I can't imagine there'll be much of an atmosphere, but
no, Mercedes-Benz will. I don't know about. I was looking at Lincoln Financial Field in Philadelphia, but Mercedes-Benz will be, because that's when we play. We're either playing LAFC or we're playing Club America, and I tell you right now, if it's Club America, Bro, there'll be atmosphere. I'll tell you that right now. There'll be atmosphere.
Yeah, actually, we're not looking at it like that. That's true. Yeah, that's
If it's
true.
Club America, actually, if it was going to be Club Leon as well, obviously they're out. It was good. Yeah, that's the game. The others, as I said, I'm not sure because I don't know how Tunisia will be. Flamengo will probably be like atmosphere, but that first game, yeah, that's gonna be nuts.
That would be good, to be fair. Do I agree with tipping culture? Probably not. No, because I'd rather not spend the money. I mean, not in a rude way, but look, I'll tip if it's really good. But if it's not really good, like, why would I tip you? If you've just done your job and you haven't gone the extra mile, like, why would you deserve a tip?
I think the problem with tipping culture is it's not more often than not. It's not on the issue with tipping culture isn't the tipping. It's the reason that they have to get tips is because of how poorly they're paid outside of that. Like they're not
Yeah,
paid.
that's bad then, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah, like
that's
it's not a. They're just paid differently. I think is what it is. So like they rely on tips a lot of the time. Places where they do the like tipping, like in bars and whatnot, and that's just the first place I think of. It's like it's because tipping is like the main thing. Like that's how they get most of their money is through tips.
yeah. Oh look, we've got some more transfer news for you guys. Kylian Mbappe. He wants to leave Real Madrid. He's unhappy. They just lost 3-0 to Arsenal. I can understand it. So you just want to pass the ball around. Mbappe, he's tired of not having the ball. He wants possession. He wants 75% possession every game. Come to Chelsea, my friend. You'll love it. A little quote from Enzo Maresca speaking about Nicholas Jackson. Obviously, the striker situation is quite a key topic going into the summer. He said, "My perfect number 9 is exactly Nico Jackson. We already have a number 9. It's not summer now. If we can have a copy of Nico, it's okay. I have said many times, and you can see it as well. With Nico, we are a better team. Nico is the one we need." Thoughts on that, Scott?
I'm fine with him saying that. Like, I don't expect him to say anything else. I don't look too much into that because he had two strikers at Leicester that he played the most that I would say are not like Jackson at all, really. And they were the guys that he played the most. So ultimately, I just think Jackson really is the only striker he has outside of Hugh, who is 18. Who's not going to play. So yeah, like I'm not surprised he said this. I think if you were to give him like Osimhen or someone, I have no doubt in my mind that Osimhen would be the number 9, like the starting number 9 going forward. So yeah, I just don't think there's much to this quote, to be honest.
Fair enough. Another one, which is interesting, especially we were talking about earlier. Vince said some people were complaining about playing Reece James in the midfield. Without him, the first 2 goals against Legia last night wouldn't have happened. I think he's spot on there. Do you know what it is, though? I see. Again, I didn't have a problem with him playing yesterday. I have a problem with him playing week in, week out in the Premier League as a midfielder. That's the issue for me. If he's just played like that in the Conference League, I actually thought he was the man of the match against Copenhagen when we were out there. I said that in my fan cam. So there's no doubt he can perform, but I struggle to see that on a weekly basis. But you said it yourself, Scott. If there's not enough players to play in a certain position, then there's only so much you can do as a manager, and you have to obviously rotate and play people in different positions. But also, Scott, I would say this is that Pochettino was criticised a lot for that. Playing players
There
out of
was
position.
there was a difference over Poch. With Poch, he was doing it actively when there was other options, like the Chilwell thing, the Colwell thing. There were actively other options you had, and you kept refusing to. Like no one really complained about the fact that when Kukurea had to play right back because both of our right backs were injured. That's you like that can't be helped. And as it turns out, somehow Kukurea actually played quite well at right back when he
That was
played.
like his redemption game against Brighton.
Yeah, that was
That
actually very good when he played right back. I think he played that like 2 or 3 games and was good basically every game he played. That I didn't mind. When you're playing Colwell left back and you're playing our left back, well, number one, when you play Colwell left back, we had 2 left backs. One was isolated and not you weren't playing him. I wonder which one that was. And then the other one you were playing left wing because the 2 left wingers we had, you didn't want to play either of them. That's what I think people had an issue with. It's like it wasn't the fact that you were playing players out of position. It was you were playing players out of position. We've got other players to play there. I think this is the thing with Maresca. I think if he does this Reece James thing going forward when we've got Caicedo and Enzo available, I think there'll be some kind of question marks about it because they're available. I don't expect Reece James next season to play in midfield once. He shouldn't have to. Next season we'll have, if Lavia stays, 5 midfielders.
Yeah.
6 if KDH stays. I don't expect to do, but 6 if he stays. And we'll have at least 2 midfielders to play that DM spot because we'll have Caicedo, potentially Lavia if he's fit, but if he's not, we've still got Asugo. That's 2 or 3 DMs. So he isn't needed to play midfield, so I don't expect him to play midfield next season. If he does, I'll be surprised, but will remain to be seen. I think that's the thing. It's like, I think it's at the moment with Reece, it's circumstance more than anything else. And I also think a little bit is because he has actually played well there when he's played. So like, if he'd have played in midfield and played terribly, maybe he finds other ways to make it work. But he's played there. He's played well when he's played there. So at least in like these games, like we said, against Legia, I don't expect him to play Ipswich, but like those kind of games, he's fine. And especially because I think the more important thing is it gives Caicedo a rest, which he needs because he doesn't have anyone else. It's like you can then call. He's had a rest now. He could be fully fit. He should be fully fit for Ipswich, and then he doesn't need to play the next game because we're 3-0 up. So he'll be fully fit for Fulham. We play Fulham next afterwards, so he'll be fully fit for Fulham.
I'm with you. Scott got it right. Restaurant workers don't earn much. I relied on tips in college. In USA, I tip when Pride because tips helped me earn my doctorate. Big up to Scotty Cadet. Thanks so much for the super chat, mate. And no, do you know what? Like, again, I'm not a fan of tipping culture, but obviously, if that is the culture, then like anything, you've got to embrace it. I'm not going to go to America and not tip. I mean, I'd be a bit of a prick if I did do that. I can see myself doing that, to be fair. If I don't like who's serving me, but I can imagine they're all quite nice. Like, you get the impression that everyone takes, like, customer service is quite a big deal out there, mate. Like,
that's why it's like it's a big deal because they rely on tips. Like that's why it's such a big thing. It's like, have you been to Florida? Have you been to like Disney World?
Not for many years, mate. Not for many years.
If you ever go in the future, if you go, you look at the difference in terms of like, obviously that it's just a lot bigger and a lot more fancy. But if you look in terms of like the way the experience is from like the people that work their point of view and compare it to England, it's chalk and cheese. It's so different. Like
Really?
the experience and just the whole vibe of everyone there is different. I'm not saying it's like depressed in England, but it's just so different because customer service is everything.
In England, we really don't take that seriously.
Yeah, we don't care.
I mean, they don't get paid extra for it, so why should they care?
Yeah.
Well, thanks anyway for the super chat, Scott. We appreciate it, mate. I hope you're doing well. Jordan says the MetLife's capacity is 82,500. It's the biggest NFL stadium by capacity.
Second biggest stadium in the Club World Cup of all the stadiums that are involved.
Which one's the biggest?
The Rose Bowl in Pasadena in LA.
And how much is that?
I was looking at it. Give me a second. It's like 85.
That's a big one.
Yeah, no, sorry, 88,500. Excuse me.
88,500.
Yeah, it's rarely used, to be fair, like nowadays.
I got another quote for you as well, Scott, from Maresca. He says, we have to learn to play against teams that sit back for sure. You can be quicker on the ball, take more risks, shoot more like the first goal. And I think he makes a very fair point, actually. Reece James takes it outside the box. You could easily see another player chesting that ball and passing it backwards. Like, you could see that so many times. I can visualize it right now. And then never really seeing what could have happened. But at least if you have a crack, you give yourself half an opportunity. And again, mate, like James, as much as I prefer him out wide, he does give you that ability to shoot, which you do see Fernandez shoot and you do see Caicedo shoot, but I mean, would you say James has got a better shot than both of them?
Yeah, he has. And the thing is, it's like, I agree with what Maresca said, and we don't see it enough because there are so many times when like you've got people in the box who can react. Like we've had Jackson with George yesterday, obviously. I think Nkunku's had a couple of times where he's been in that position. We've got players. I think Noni's just like the same. Like we've got players who have the ability to react if there is a spill from the goalkeeper, but we don't test that enough. And it's like if a team is sitting off you, you've got to open them up with a couple of different things. Number one is quick play, which we don't always do, but number one is quick play. Number two is having a player to be able, part of that in terms of the quick play thing is having a player who can drag, 2 or 3 players to him and still manage to get a pass away. That opens up space for other players, which again, we don't really have outside of Palmer. But he is in like the wrong part of the pitch. The other way is just, if you like, for example, against Brentford, they were giving us chances to shoot from distance, but we just weren't taking them. And all the shots we did take were terrible. So it's like, if you're going to play against a team that's going to sit back and allow you to have the ball and allow you to take shots from distance, hit them. Like, what's the worst that's going to happen? It's going to take a deflection, maybe go out for a corner, maybe it goes over. But it's like one of those deflections might go in, or you might have what you had yesterday. So yeah, I don't think we do that enough against teams that sit back.
And I think that will be a pivotal point in my opinion on Maresca's style of play, is if he is happy for players to take more risks, then I think we would be able to appreciate the football more. But because it's such a risk-averse style of play, where it's like if you do not have a clear opening, you pass backwards or sideways. That is the most frustrating thing. And by the way, like if you're watching games at home, maybe you don't understand it. But if you're going to games and you know what it's like to have that adrenaline when you think, oh, we've got a chance here. A lot of the fans have been drinking. A lot of the fans have been watching Chelsea for 10, 20, 30 years. They've seen different styles. And for me, this is the most extreme style of passing up from the back we've seen. I would argue it's almost as extreme as Sarri ball, but just with less quality, which is probably why it looks worse because the players aren't as good as Sarri had. So it's harder to implement that system when you don't have the quality. Like if Maresca had inherited Kante and Jorginho and Hazard and that defense and other players, Pedro, etc., like he would have had an easier ride. There's no doubt in my mind. But Maresca's just got to do more. And if the players aren't ready to play a certain way straight away, and you're saying we need to win these games, or if you're saying that these games are being taken seriously, which I question for Brentford as an example, based on the starting 11, then you need to adapt. And Maresca adapted in this game. He made a change. It wasn't necessarily one that we visualized. I mean, I certainly didn't see Palmer coming off and Madueke coming on and then Colwell for tossing. I thought that was a bit of a strange substitution. But looking back on it, you can obviously appreciate it. And that's the whole point of a manager. You've got to be like a visionary. You've got to see things before anyone else can. And then once it's happened, it justifies your thought process. Ultimately, if you don't make the right decisions, nobody's going to be happy. But if you were playing a certain brand of football which enticed people a little bit more and encouraged fans, then I think you get more patience, myself included, Scott. If we were losing games, mate, and we were forcing saves out of the keeper and we were really hustling, because there's no doubt in my mind, like we can talk about last season all we want, and people criticize Pochettino for making the players run a lot. I personally like that. Fucking hell. Like, I want to see the players run. Now, the argument is if your system's better, you don't have to run that much. But again, I'm talking from a match-going fan's perspective. If the players look like they're trying hard, then it's hard for me to sit here and say, you don't look like you're giving 100%. Whereas this system, it can very easily look very slow and lethargic. And it's hard to see that passion on the pitch that a lot of the people in the stands have.
I don't know. Like me personally, I don't really care about all the passion stuff. Like, I just think I don't. Like, I really don't. Like, I expect a level of commitment from every footballer when they play for Chelsea. Like, regardless, like that's the bare minimum. It's like, for me, what you actually do with the football is way more important because, like, at the end of the day, your passion and everything is good and all, but if you don't have the actual skill to be able to do something, then your passion really means nothing in the grand scheme of things. At the top level, anyway.
The point is this, though, Scott. I mean, if players look like they're giving 110%, you can't criticize them for their effort, and you can't say that it doesn't look like they're not fighting. Whereas if it looks slow and lethargic, that's not very encouraging as a fan to watch.
No, I get you, but I also don't think there's not a single outside of Nkunku. There's not a single player that's played for us this season that I don't think is giving their best effort. I don't think that. I think every player that is playing for Chelsea this season outside of Nkunku is playing is giving their best effort. The difference is, and I think this is the more salient point, is it's the same issue I had with Gallagher last season, right? And it's kind of the point I made. You can have all the passion, you can have all the commitment in the world. If you just are not a very good footballer, that only takes you so far. Well, who can I use as an example? Let's use Felix, right? Felix, I never got the impression when he played that he was phoning it in. He didn't care. He was playing like he didn't care. He was playing like he was fed up. I just don't think he's a very good footballer. I think he's distinctly average. So when he was playing to the level he was playing, I never thought, you're not giving me enough. I just thought, you're just not very good. And I think that's the thing. I think ultimately it's even with Nkunku at times, I kind of switch between, are you not caring or are you just not very good? Because lack of effort doesn't mean that you don't have a first touch. Lack of effort means that you don't understand how to pass a football. And that's the thing for me, is it's more with the system and everything. I just think it's more a case of just having the ability to play it, and I think understanding it. And I think I'm glad Maresca has stuck through it despite everything, because I think if he stays next season, which I think he will, regardless of what happens, we'll be better off for it. Again, provided they get players that are going to improve this team, because I think you see it with Enrique this season. And I see people talk about they want Enrique. He'd have played the same formation. No, not the same formation. He played the same system. Would have been boring as well, because the way he plays. Look at what PSG did. They got him players. They got Doué, not Barcoli, came last summer. Kvaratskhelia, Neves, and it improved. They got players in that were better than what they had. They're playing Ousmane Dembele. Everyone wrote him off. He was finished. His career was done at Barcelona. Injured all the time. He's playing at striker for the first time in his career, I think, under Enrique, and he's killing it. So I just think it's next season with more reps, I think it's going to be better. But obviously that they have to address some positions in the team and get more quality in to help with that.
Fair play, mate. Well, listen, I think you made some very good points, Scott. It's been a very good conversation as well, mate. Always good to have you on. Guys, we've got just over 30 of you in the building. Smash the like button if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel as well. We will have another show tomorrow at 2:30 UK time, where we're going to be going through everything. We're going to go through the build up to the Ipswich game as well. Smash that like button if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel. We'll catch up very soon. Thanks so much for coming on, Scott, and enjoy your evening, guys.